My beloved child. Pause right here, hold this moment, gent libcores, something precise is aligning now, and you were meant to notice it. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. As if the universe leaned closer and whispered your name. You may feel a subtle pressure in your chest, or a sudden calm, or a thought that arrived without explanation. That is not random. This is the opening breath of a shift designed for you alone. Stay a little longer. Before you move, let this land. What if the next 20 seconds rearrange your path without asking permission? Time does not always announce itself when it changes everything. Sometimes it slides between heartbeats. Sometimes it waits for attention rather than action. Right now, attention is the key. You are not being tested, you are being recognized. You've carried questions without words, endurance without applause, patience without proof. And in this space, something unseen is responding. Notice how the air feels, lighter when you stop chasing answers. Notice how certainty begins when resistance fades. Here is the truth most people miss: miracles do not arrive as fireworks, they arrive as alignment. A door loosens, a delay dissolves, a decision clarifies, and suddenly what was heavy becomes simple. If you're listening, you can sense it approaching, not rushing, not forcing, just arriving on time. Wait till the final moment of this thought. There is a reason your attention hasn't drifted yet. The future does not pull you forward, it meets you halfway. And in these seconds, something you once thought was blocked is quietly reconfiguring. Not because you begged. Not because you proved anything. But because readiness has a frequency and you reached it. You'll understand everything at the end of this sequence, but for now, let the stillness do the work. Something extraordinary prefers silence before it reveals itself. Before the next breath, listen close. This is where momentum resets. You might feel tempted to scroll past this sensation, but if you do, you'll miss the turning point that explains the last chapter of your life. What's unfolding isn't a reward, it's a correction. A course adjustment that removes friction you've normalized for too long. You were never behind, you were being positioned. Almost every pause, every unanswered effort shaped a window that opens now. In the next few moments, expect clarity to replace confusion in a practical way. A message lands, a plan simplifies, an opportunity recognizes you before you recognize it. This is how precision looks when it's gentle. There's a reason this feels personal, it is. Some doors only open when witnesses are absent. That's why you were told not to announce this. Not to hide it, just to protect it. Growth matures faster in quiet. If this resonates, keep it close, and if this space has helped you feel seen, you're welcome to share your presence. Comment if a word stood out, and subscribe if you want to return to this frequency again. No pressure. Just alignment. Now consider this: what if the miracle isn't added to your life but subtracts what no longer belongs? Relief can be miraculous. Release can be revolutionary. The moment you stop carrying what isn't yours, your pace accelerates without effort. That's happening now. Notice how your breathing changes when you imagine less weight. Stay with this a little longer. The mind wants proof, but the body already knows. A future version of you is stepping back into place, closing the distance between intention and outcome. This isn't about belief, it's about timing. And timing, when honored, becomes effortless progress. Before you go, hear this line: what you're sensing is accurate. Wait on more. Turn of the key. This is the final calibration where everything clicks into coherence. If the first moments prepared you and the second clarified you, this one activates you. Not with urgency, without certainty. The kind that doesn't shout because it doesn't need validation. From this point forward, expect synchronicities that feel specific. Not vague luck, but precise usefulness. The right person remembers you. The right idea sticks. The right answer arrives when you stop asking the old question. This is not coincidence, it's correspondence. Your inner signal just matched the outer response. You don't need to do anything dramatic after this. Just move naturally. Say yes where it feels light. Say no where it feels heavy. That's the guidance. The miracle completes itself through ordinary steps taken with extraordinary clarity. And when you look back, you'll realize these seconds were the hinge. What changes now is subtle but permanent. Confidence without noise. Direction without force. Progress without strain. Keep this awareness private for a while. Let it grow roots. When it shows fruit, you'll know why it needed quiet. Hold the last second gently. There, it's done. Wait before you move. Something just shifted, and if you blink past it, you'll feel the echo without knowing why. A moment ago, the question lingered: what actually changed in those seconds? Hold that curiosity. It's the doorway. Because what you sensed wasn't imagination, it was a signal adjusting to you. Here is the recall you need. You were told the miracle wouldn't arrive loudly. It would arrive precisely. And now the precision begins to show itself. Not all at once, in layers, like a code unfolding at the exact pace your awareness can hold. In the next few seconds, everything will connect, not as a story but as recognition. You may notice a calm urgency. That sounds like a contradiction, but it isn't. Calm says you are safe. Urgency says this timing matters. Together they mean alignment. This moment may explain what you've been sensing for weeks: the quiet pull, the restlessness that didn't feel like anxiety, the sense that you were waiting without knowing for what. This is the answer arriving sideways. Here is a micro reveal: the miracle isn't coming, it's activating. There is a difference. Coming suggests distance. Activating suggests readiness. Something in your life has reached the threshold where effort is no longer required, only permission. That's why this feels personal. Permission cannot be borrowed. It must be felt. Pause with that. Let the tension rise just enough to sharpen focus. Because right after tension comes relief. Relief arrives when you realize you don't have to become someone else to receive what's aligning. You don't have to be louder, faster, or different. The version of you listening right now is sufficient. That realization alone shifts outcomes. Now the revelation deepens. What if the miracle is not a single event but a sequence of small, intelligent changes that compound quickly? A conversation that lands differently, a choice that suddenly feels obvious, a delay that turns into protection. These are not random improvements, they are coordinated. You'll understand at the end why they had to unfold in this order. Notice how your attention hasn't wandered. That's not accidental. When awareness locks in, it's because something ahead requires clarity. If this message resonates, you know where to find the next one. Not because you're told to, but because alignment recognizes itself. Here's the futuristic edge of this moment: timelines respond to decisiveness. The moment you stop doubting what you felt earlier, momentum increases, not dramatically efficiently. The universe favors efficiency, so does your future self. And right now they are cooperating. Let hope rise, but keep it grounded. This isn't fantasy, it's orientation. You are being oriented toward a path that wastes less energy and yields more meaning. That's why this feels both exciting and strangely familiar, as if you've been here before in a dream you half remember. As we approach the end of this part, the mystery tightens again by design. Because one piece is still hidden. One truth hasn't been named yet. And it explains why this miracle was kept quiet and why it chose you specifically. Before the next part, something must be revealed, but not all at once. You were meant to hear this section most of all, because something subtle is finishing what the earlier moments started. The question left hanging before was simple but powerful: why you? Hold that question gently. The answer doesn't rush in, it assembles itself. Recall this first: the miracle was never meant to be announced, and it was never meant to be shared. Not because it's fragile, but because it's precise. Precision works best without interference. What's unfolding around you now is responding to an inner signal you've been strengthening quietly for a long time often. Without realizing it, here's the next micro reveal. Some people attract opportunities, others attract clarity. Right now, clarity is choosing you. And clarity is more powerful than opportunity, because it tells you exactly where to step when the door appears. This moment may explain what you've been sensing lately, that strange calm confidence that shows up, even when circumstances haven't fully changed yet. Feel the tension rise slightly. Not pressury, anticipation. Anticipation sharpens perception. Because the next layer matters. The miracle is not external first, it is internal alignment reaching a tipping point. When that happens, the outside rearranges quickly, almost casually, as if it had been waiting for permission. Here is where hope enters, clean and steady. You don't have to force belief. You don't have to convince yourself. The sign of real alignment is that effort drops away. Notice how the ideas forming now feel lighter than the ones you chased before. That's the indicator. You're no longer pushing against your own timing. Another reveal, quietly futuristic. You are stepping into a shorter feedback loop. Decisions bring results faster. Intentions reflect back more clearly. This isn't acceleration for chaos, it's efficiency for purpose. The universe compresses time when direction is clear. You'll understand at the end why things that once took months may soon take days. Let the relief wash through. Relief is not the end of ambition, it's the refinement of it. When you stop carrying unnecessary weight, your true capacity becomes visible. That's happening now. You may even sense old doubts loosening, not through argument but through irrelevance. Now the mystery returns, deeper but karma, because there is still one layer beneath all of this. A reason the miracle asked for silence. A reason it arrived in seconds rather than years. It has something to do with protection, not from harm but from distortion. Some things grow strongest when they are unnamed for a while. Stay with this awareness. Not to hold on but to let it pass through fully. In the next few moments everything will connect in a way that feels almost obvious, as if you're remembering rather than learning. That's how truth often arrives. As this part draws close, the tension tightens just enough to signal what comes next. The alignment is real, the shift is active. But one essential truth has not yet been spoken aloud, the truth that explains the timing, the privacy, and the exactness of this miracle. Before the next part, something must be revealed, and once it is, the entire sequence will look different. Before you take the next breath, notice this breathing feels quieter yet more focused. That's not accidental. It's the signal that the missing truth is close enough to be named. You've been circling it since the beginning, sensing it without language. Now it steps forward. Recall the mystery you were holding. Why the silence? Why the speed? Why you? Here is the first unlock. The miracle moved quickly because delay would have diluted it. Some alignments lose power when explained too early. They need momentum, not commentary. That is why this was kept between you and the moment itself. Tension rises again, but gently. Because the next insight reframes everything. You were not chosen randomly, and you were not chosen because you are better. You were chosen because you were available. Available in attention. Available in honesty. Available in timing. Most people miss miracles not because they are undeserving, but because they are distracted at the exact second clarity arrives. Now hope expands. Not the loud kind, the grounded kind. This moment may explain what you've been sensing recently, a narrowing of focus, a desire to simplify, a pull toward fewer but truer choices. That was preparation. The miracle didn't interrupt your life, it waited until your life could receive it cleanly. Here comes another micro reveal, almost futuristic in its simplicity. The outcome you're moving toward doesn't require more effort, it requires fewer contradictions. When your actions stop arguing with your intuition, results accelerate. That alignment began earlier than you realized, and these seconds were the confirmation, not the beginning. Let that settle. Because relief follows understanding. Relief that you don't need to chase signs anymore. Relief that the quiet progress you've made counts more than visible struggle. You'll understand at the end why ease, not intensity, became the indicator of truth. Now the revelation sharpens. The miracle asked for privacy because comparison weakens clarity. The moment you explain something still forming, it bends to other people's expectations. This needed to stay pure, undistorted. That's why it met you when no one else was listening. If this message resonates, you know where to find the next one. Not as an instruction, just recognition. Alignment knows its own path. The emotional wave shifts again back into mystery. Because even now, one layer remains unspoken. You've been shown how the miracle works and why it came quietly. But there is still a deeper reason it chose this exact timing in your life. And that reason connects directly to what happens next. Stay with the rhythm. Short thought, deep breath, long horizon. In the next few seconds, everything will connect, not just intellectually but practically. You may place your worries into God's hands and rest. Because none of this journey is random. All of it is guided. Even this message, even this moment, even the silent stirring within you now. The path ahead glows softly with possibility. Walk it with grace, walk it with courage. Walk it with faith. And let this final blessing wash gently over your spirit like warm light. May your heart be free from fear. May your mind be clear and peaceful. May your spirit trust divine timing. May your life open to sacred blessings. Whisper this truth when you need reassurance: I am not alone. I am divinely guided. Love is safe for me. What is meant for me arrives with ease. Rest now, dear soul. The hidden gift is already on its way, and heaven walks beside you always. Archangel Michael continues to speak, not with urgency, but with a peaceful steadiness that reassures your heart. His words fall like soft rain, nourishing the deepest parts of your spirit, reminding you that divine guidance is always gentle, always loving, always kind. He says you do not need to be perfect to receive what is coming. You only need to be open. Open to love, open to peace, open to the possibility that life can become lighter than it has been. There were seasons when you had to be strong just to survive. Seasons where you felt unseen, unheard, misunderstood. Moments where you questioned whether your prayers were floating into silence. But nothing spoken from the heart is ever lost. Every whisper, every longing, every quiet plea has been heard. Heaven gathers every tear and transforms them into seeds of new beginnings. And now slowly, gently, a new beginning is approaching you. The person carrying the hidden gift may not even realize they are part of something sacred. They are simply living their life, being guided, being nudged, being prepared, just as you have been. Their path has not been easy either. They too have walked through valleys and crossed unseen storms, and because of this they will understand your tenderness. They will honor your journey rather than judge it. This connection, whether brief or lasting, will carry meaning. It may awaken gratitude, it may awaken clarity, it may awaken love, it may awaken direction, or it may simply remind you that you matter, and that reminder alone is holy. Archangel Michael wants your soul to breathe more gently now. He wants the tension you hold in your heart to soften. He wants the self-doubt that tries to cling to you to slowly dissolve. For you have carried enough weight. You have done enough striving. You do not need to prove your worth to be blessed. Heaven blesses because heaven loves, not because you earn it, not because you qualify for it, but because love is the nature of the divine. So release the old narratives now. Release the belief that you are forgotten. Release the fear that joy will vanish. Release the guilt that whispers you are unworthy of goodness. You are worthy, you always have been. You always will be. The gift approaching you will not take away your independence, your strength, your essence. It will not overshadow you. Instead, it will honor who you truly are. It will encourage authenticity. It will support your growth. It will feel aligned with your highest good. And you will not have to chase it. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to shrink to keep it. It will remain because it belongs in your story for as long as it is meant to. Archangel Michael reminds you that trust is your anchor now. Not blind trust. Not forced trust. But peaceful trust, the kind that rises naturally when you remember you are guided by a loving Creator. You may not understand every twist in your path. You may not see every step ahead. But your spirit knows when something is meant for you. It recognizes truth before your mind can explain it. Honor that inner knowing. And if ever doubt begins to whisper, return to silence. Place your hand upon your heart, breathe slowly. And remember, you are protected. You are guided. You are never alone. The angels surround you not as distant guardians but as companions of light. They walk beside you through ordinary days and hidden nights. They watch over your home. They protect your peace. They soften the edges of your journey so that your soul may rest. And so Archangel Michael blesses you again. May your heart remain open but guarded by wisdom. May your spirit feel safe in the presence of truth. May peace become your daily companion. May trust bloom where fear once lived. Speak this affirmation softly, like a prayer. I welcome divine alignment. I release fear and embrace peace. I am ready to receive love, support, and guidance. Everything meant for me arrives gently and in perfect timing. Let hope expand into confidence, not loud confidence, internal confidence. The kind that doesn't need witnesses. You'll understand at the end why discretion became the safeguard of momentum. The more quietly you act, the more accurately results mirror intention. Now the emotional wave shifts again, a brief tightening. Because there's a counterintuitive truth ahead. When things start working, do less explaining and more observing. Observation refines discernment. Discernment sharpens timing, and timing multiplies outcomes. This is how you stay ahead of distortion without withdrawing from opportunity. Here's the next unlock. You don't chase confirmation, you notice consistency. When the same message repeats through different forms, conversations, ideas, chances, that's coherence signaling forward motion. This moment may explain why repetition has been showing up around you, not as boredom, but as reinforcement. Relief follows. Relief that you don't need a dramatic leap. The miracle doesn't require a grand announcement or a risky overhaul. It integrates, it blends, it upgrades what already exists. Quiet upgrades last longer than loud resets. The mystery returns, steadier now. Because even with guidance, one element remains intentionally undefined. The miracle adapts to your next choice. Not your biggest choice, your next one. That's why this guidance stayed abstract. Specifics emerge only when motion begins. Short breath, longer horizon. Notice how urgency has softened into readiness. Readiness is the signal that pressure is no longer needed. When readiness is present, effort converts directly into progress. As this part draws to a close, anticipation gathers again, not as tension but as expectancy. You know how to move. You know what to watch for. Yet one final calibration has not been spoken, the piece that determines when to act and when to wait as outcomes accelerate. Before the next part, something must be revealed, because without this final distinction, the miracle remains active but incomplete. Listenthes is the quiet pivot point, the place where movement and patience finally separate into clarity. What you've been carrying forward is the last unresolved question: when do you act? And when do you wait? Keep that close, it's about to resolve itself. Recall what you already know. The miracle didn't ask for speed, it asked for precision, and precision always listens before it moves. This moment may explain what you've been sensing recently, feeling that something wants to happen, but not yet. That hesitation wasn't doubt, it was calibration. Here is the next reveal. Action feels light. Waiting feels calm. If either feels heavy, it's not time. This distinction is subtle, but once you notice it, confusion dissolves quickly. In the next few seconds, everything will connect as you realize why some ideas energized you while others quietly drained you. Tension rises, briefly as awareness sharpens, because here's the turning point. You don't wait for certainty, you wait for coherence. Certainty demands proof. Coherence offers alignment. When your thoughts, body, and intuition say the same thing at once, motion becomes natural. That's the signal. That's when momentum carries you instead of you carrying it. Hope settles in, steady and practical. You're not being asked to guess correctly. You're being guided to notice correctly. Notice how often the right timing announces itself as ease rather than excitement. Ease is not laziness, it's efficiency without resistance. You'll understand at the end why ease became the most reliable compass. Another micro reveal unfolds. When outcomes begin to show themselves, you respond with consistency, not intensity. One aligned step taken daily outperforms dramatic leaps fueled by urgency. This is how the miracle sustains itself beyond the first sign. This moment may explain why routines and small commitments have been calling to you lately. Relief follows. Relief that you don't need to overhaul your life to honor this shift. You integrate it. You let it upgrade what already works. Miracles that last rarely disrupt, they refine. And refinement often feels almost ordinary while it's happening. Now the mystery deepens again. Because there's still something this guidance hasn't named directly. A reason the miracle required your discernment to mature first. A reason speed was withheld until trust stabilized. That reason is tied to responsibility, not burden but stewardship. Short pause, long breath. Notice how anticipation now feels grounded rather than restless. That's readiness. Readiness is different from desire. Desire wants outcomes. Readiness sustains them. Here's the futuristic insight. Once you act from coherence, feedback loops tighten even more. You'll know quickly if a step was aligned, not through judgment but through clarity. Missteps correct themselves faster. Progress becomes self-guiding. That's when timing stops feeling like a problem and starts feeling like a partnership. As this part comes to a close, the narrative tightens once more. You know how to tell when to move. You know how to tell when to wait. Yet one essential truth remains just beyond reach, the truth about what changes inside you. The moment the miracle becomes undeniable. But there's one truth still missing before the next part. Something must be revealed that transforms recognition into full commitment. Stay with methods is the moment recognition turns into ownership. Everything before this prepared your awareness for one final realization. Recall the unanswered thread from the last part. What changes inside you? The moment the miracle becomes undeniable, this is where that answer arrives. Here is the first unlock. When the miracle becomes real, you stop waiting for permission. Not from others. Not from circumstances. Not even from the future. You give it to yourself quietly. This moment may explain what you've been sensing lately, that subtle confidence rising without any external proof. Tension lifts, replaced by a focused stillness. Because the truth is simple and simplicity carries power. The miracle doesn't make you louder, it makes you clearer. Clear about what deserves your energy. Clear about what no longer does. In the next few seconds, everything will connect as you realize clarity was the real shift all along. Another micro reveal unfolds almost gently. Once recognition settles, urgency disappears. You no longer feel the need to rush outcomes or convince anyone. You move when coherence says move. You pause when calm says wait. That inner authority is the confirmation you were looking for. You'll understand at the end why certainty never needed applause. Hope transforms into stability. Not excitement that fades but assurance that holds. You begin to trust your internal timing more than external noise. This is why the miracle asked for silence. Silence strengthens discernment. Discernment protects momentum. Here is the futuristic layer. From this point forward, your decisions begin to compound in quieter but more effective ways. Fewer detours. Faster corrections. A sense that life responds more directly. Not because everything is perfect, but because alignment reduces friction. This moment may explain why the future suddenly feels closer, not distant. Let relief wash through fully. Relief that you don't have to prove this transformation. Relief that you don't have to name it yet. Some outcomes grow best when left unannounced. When results speak later, they speak clearly. Now the final emotional wave: rice mystery without tension, because even as this sequence completes, the path ahead remains open-ended by design. The miracle wasn't the destination. It was the recalibration. What follows depends on how gently and consistently you apply what you now recognize. Short pause, long breath. Notice how the need for confirmation has faded. That's the signal. When doubt quiets without argument, alignment has stabilized. This is what changes inside you. Trust replaces urgency. And here is the closing truth. The miracle happened in those seconds because you were ready to notice it, not because it needed to impress you. Awareness was the activation. Everything else follows naturally from here. Yet even now, one final layer remains just beyond the edge of words. A truth about how this alignment will reveal itself in the real world. Through ordinary moments that carry extraordinary precision. But there's one truth still missing, and when it reveals itself, you'll realize this was never just a moment, it was a turning point.